winner, Homer.
The best 60 minutes of your day, the Bryan Bulaga Homer Hour. Can't wait to hear his opening statement. Can't wait. Because there are many things he could bring up. What does he have at the top of the list? I say this about other topics. If you have only 30 seconds or 60 seconds, what are you going to say? What do you feel must be said first and foremost about the Packers game? But first, for Jason Wilde, Doctor of Football, Bryan, how you doing tonight?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great, too. And
Good.
Now, your opening statement.
Yeah, well, I walked away from that football game disappointed. I walked away disappointed with the performance from offense, defense. I mean, special teams. Yeah, he missed a kick, but okay. Weather was bad. What was he going to do? Kick 10 field goal? No. So I'm moving on from that. But I thought, and this was because I was driving home from a soccer tournament as the game was being played. I was listening to Larry McCarron. Then when I got home, I was able to turn it on, finish watching, and watch it again today. Listening to Larry McCarron describe what was happening up front and what the Lions were doing to us offensively and defensively, I mean, I could picture it in my head. Larry McCarron was very detailed, talking about how Goff had all the time in the world and he could do this and he can do that. And talking about how the running backs from the Lions weren't getting touched for 4 yards, getting through the line. All those things I could see very clearly in my head as he was describing it. And then once I got home and I turned the TV on and I saw all of that, it made total sense. And it brings me back to last year, right? And we all remember the Lions game from last year at home. We got whooped. And I get the score was different this time around, but that's essentially what happened again. And the weather conditions were just worse, because if the weather conditions were good, I think it would have been worse than what the score actually showed yesterday. So from a physicality standpoint and from a trench play, trench play, O-line and D-line, they handled us. They gave us everything we could ever wanted and more, and they gave it to us in bunches. And listen, the Packers had some good moments, right? They had some good moments with Jacobs. He had a productive day, right? Would have loved more. Obviously, but it just wasn't consistent enough to beat a team like the Lions. Too many drops, too many mistakes, too many penalties. And then, I heard you talking on the post game, because I always like to hear you and Tausch right after. And I don't understand what happened at the end of the half, or what the thought process was by Matt LaFleur trying to score that.
I can tell you the answer. I can tell you the answer to that.
Yeah.
No, that's how much he believes in Jordan Love. I got a quarterback. I got a guy. Let's go. We can get 3 points out of this. That was an indication of his confidence, even though he knew Jordan Love wasn't close to 100% by his inability or lack of interest in running. And I don't mean just, running for yardage, but
yeah,
he was for those of you that are old, he was Lynn Dickey.
Yeah, I guess here's my thing with that, though, right?
Okay.
As much as even as a fan watching Jordan Love, as much as I trust Jordan Love, we all watched the same game. We weren't doing anything offensively that made me believe yeah, we're going to go down and kick a field goal. Like
other than the first drive.
Okay, the first drive. That's what I'm saying, like the first drive. Other than that, I mean, we got gifted 30 yards on a drive and came away with nothing.
Right.
So, like, let's be like,
I mean,
so
they had 2nd and 2 at the 38 after the first play was in. There may have been about 50 seconds left after a pass to Dobbs for 8.
Yes.
Now, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just passing along the information.
Yeah. So, the decision of Jordan Love, I think there needs to be a discussion, and I understand him, man. He wants to make a play. Mm-hmm. He wants to get this team, moving forward and get them wins, and he wants to be aggressive, and I get it, and I understand it, and I can appreciate it. But he needs to take this bye week and look at it from a different point of view, right? Like, and I don't know what view he wants to take it, if he wants to take it from someone in the stands, if he wants to take it from LaFleur's, if he wants to take it from a lineman. I don't know whose perspective he wants to look at. But you can't make that mistake at that point in time in the game. Like, right. You just can't. Like, you have to learn that you got to live to fight another day sometimes, right? Like, and we've kind of seen that from him at times throughout the season, that he hasn't understood that yet this season. And last season, he was making amazing decisions all the time. We saw the run he went on.
He had one interception. I'll let you finish this fact. He had one interception in the last 8 games. He has now thrown an interception in 7 straight games. And if you're wondering, Favre did do it 4 times. He got as long as high as 10 in a row. Rodgers, 6 was the most in a row in his first year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think he just needs, over the bye week, to evaluate that, learn when, or just not. I mean, he understands when a play's dead, but just so that he understands, like, hey, man, we're not going anywhere with this play. Time to just, dirt it or throw it out of bounds, or heck, just take a sack. Like, just get down, take a sack, because you can't run and move as good as you would want to at this point. So just, I just felt like as I'm watching the game, it just reminded me so much of last year. And that, to me, like, I understand what we did on Thanksgiving and beating the snot out of them in Detroit. Like, I get all that, but, like, these are the types of games, like, it's bad weather, it's even football. These are the types of games I expect. Like, got Jacobs, we got a great running back, we got a good like, as of right now, who I think a really good quarterback. We have an O-line, I get it. It was shuffled a little bit because of injuries, but we have a good O-line. We need to pound the rock, and we need to make these work, and it just didn't work. And the Lions, they made it work. And that's what we saw happen. And one team got it done up front, and one team didn't, and that was the moral of the story. And there were other things, mistakes, like I said, but I just expected more from the guys up front to fight for that thing a little bit more and get it done, because I think we got the guys to do it. That's the problem that upsets me.
Yeah, they got whooped on the line of scrimmage, and whooped is the right word. Dr. Football, there's a problem with saying whooped. You know what the problem with that is?
No, what is it?
Because it was nothing close to what Iowa did to Wisconsin. So you can't say whooped, because then, by the way, I don't know who and how well Wisconsin will do, but for those of you who were bothered by that game, go back and watch a Wisconsin game against Michigan when Rich Rodriguez was the coach at Michigan. And Wisconsin, under Bielema, I think, went to Ann Arbor and ran the ball like 50 times in a row, which is pretty close to what Iowa did. And Wisconsin whooped up on Rich Rodriguez and Michigan the same way that Iowa did. So I don't know if they whooped them yesterday. An industrial whooping on Saturday. I was thinking of you, and I know we're in the state of Wisconsin, but I questioned the last time you were ever had as much fun watching a game as you did watching that game, given the position you play.
Oh, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing to watch. You know what it reminded me of was the Indy game that we played. The Packers.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it reminded me of was that game, because, like, it just like every time they ran the ball, it was 8 or 9 yards every time. And it worked every single time. Like Iowa off the left tackle worked like clockwork. Anytime they ran left, 8 yards. And it was just moving bodies out of the way everywhere.
Okay, so what is wrong about me as a defensive coordinator saying, all right, we're putting 5 people over there. I don't care what they do, but I'm going to make them do something else. Do I just not understand football?
Well, I mean, it's not that you don't understand football, but they're going to make an adjustment and go the other way.
All right, fine. They never went the other way in that game, did they?
They didn't have to, no.
Yeah, okay. All right, that's all. All right, back to the Packers.
Yeah, but I like this bye week, I think, is coming at a great time because we know they got injuries and they know that we got guys beat up. But I think it's a good point. Like the team 6-3, they're in a good spot, right? But I think after a loss like that, it's a good point to reflect on the body of work that's been done up to this point, right? There's been really good moments and there's been some down moments. And obviously that Lions game was a down moment that you can learn from. And we all kind of know, unless something crazy happens, right? The division's out of reach. The Lions are not letting go of that. I mean, I think everyone can agree with me that that is a NFC championship caliber football team that we watched on the field with the Detroit Lions. They are good. The question is, are we going to be meeting them again? Not just in, the regular season, but again in the playoffs in a potential wild or second round game or whatever it may be. That's what we'll see. But I think they're going to reflect. I think LaFleur is going to do it. I think Hafley's going to do it. I think they're all going to go back, look. I think the players will get healthy and get this thing going in the right direction off the bye week. I really believe that because these are the type of losses that are a little bit of a wake-up call to teams. So I'm hoping that's what effect it has.
Yeah, I would add, I still think they're a better team than I thought they would be when the season started because of the young talent that they have from players.
Yeah.
But
listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that, the season's gone now. No, I mean, I still believe they are a 10-11 win team. Unfortunately, winning 10 or 11 games ain't winning you the division.
Right.
That's the way it goes.
No, and your quarterback, unless you're going to throw 3 or 4 touchdowns a game, which he did for a couple games, you can't do this. You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, though. Somebody could look up the last time a team won a Super Bowl with a quarterback who threw an interception in 7 games in a row. You can have a bad game, but 7 in a row is
Yeah, you can't do it. Like, and you know what? And I'll say this. And as linemen, we always got frustrated at Aaron when he would take a sack and things like that. And like, why did he take a sack there? And then you watch the game and look at it, and you go, okay, like he took a sack, but he made a good decision because there was no one there. And he didn't force something, and he was like, all right, I'll take a 3 or 4 yard sack, and we'll have third and 10. And we'll get the first down, and we'll live again, and we'll move the sticks, and that's something that he was very good at. And I'm not saying Jordan needs to be like Aaron.
I want to know what the meeting's like this week when they watch that interception. You watch it as an offense, or what are the you have an offensive line meeting? Do you have then a team meeting, or do you have an offensive unit meeting? What's the meeting in which everybody's going to watch that interception?
So there's a chance that they watch it in the offensive unit meeting where they watch it as an offense. It just depends how frisky LaFleur's feeling if he wants to do it in the team meeting. It just depends. But obviously the team, the O-line, each position group's going to watch it because they watch the whole game and correct it. So each position group will watch it, and what each coach says is, each room's business. But listen, it's going to be one of those things that Jordan Love looks at, and he's going to go like, what was I thinking? Why did I do that? Well, he saw what he wanted to do, but it just wasn't there, right? It just wasn't there, and that's going to be the one he wants back because you go into halftime down 7. I get they get the ball back, but you go down 14, then you're down 21, and it's done, right? Coming out, first series out of the half, it's done when you're down 21. So, just how it unfolded was just unfortunate, and again, I think he's going to learn from it. I think I'm not hitting the panic button on Jordan Love. I think he's really good. And I think he's gonna turn the corner on it. He just needs to self-evaluate on it like every player does on the bye week. And I think he's gonna do that and come back against Chicago, better for it.
I said the same. I'd want to ask him, as I said when he threw the interception again, the playoffs against San Francisco on first down. I just want to know what you're thinking. By the way, to prove that it isn't the end of the world, in 2010, when the Packers won the Super Bowl, Aaron Rodgers actually had an interception in 5 consecutive games. Not 7, but for Rodgers, 5, that's the only time he came close to that after his first year, the year, in fact, in which they won the Super Bowl. Second quarter with the Doctor of Football, Bryan Bulaga, Rob Demovsky, also coming up soon.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on 94.5 ESPN.
Backups on westbound 94, stretching from 16th Street all the way past Mitchell Boulevard, all the way to Hawley Road. The eastbound side slowing down from just east of 84th Street through the Stadium interchange as well. Southbound 41 backed up from just south of Appleton Avenue all the way down past Capitol Drive. Southbound 43 is going to be a bit slow as well from just south of North Avenue all the way down through the Marquette all the way to the KK River crossing, so give yourself tons of extra time. Traffic is brought to you by Fifth Third Bank, custom solutions built around your goals, member FDIC. And check the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight, scattered rain, isolated thunderstorms, mild, breezy, a low of 61. Tomorrow, scattered rain, isolated thunderstorms, breezy, mild, a high of 68. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
On this show, it's always football season.
And your argument was that the coaches wanted him to return it.
Yeah,
and he very clearly said no.
They wanted him to take it to the house.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Also sponsored by American Family Insurance.
Play the results, are we?
That's what coaches do sometimes, yeah.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Al Leidinger, president of Matheson Manufacturing, needed better document imaging technology rather badly. Then came a James Imaging System sales representative to the rescue.
Tammy Oliver actually walked in the door one day and introduced herself and showed us the new features that the Toshiba had compared to our old copier. So we ended up signing up with them.
Now, after the sale, is your James Imaging System sales rep's customer service meeting your expectations?
Yes, she still checks in to see how things are going and if we need anything. So I really do appreciate that from a customer service standpoint.
James Imaging Systems. Better document imaging technology, better support, amazing people.
There's a true personal relationship, and we've been very happy with them.
Less than happy with your current document imaging vendor? Make the switch to James Imaging Systems. It's easy to do. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
Lowe, Dobbs, Watson, Reed, and now Josh Jacobs? Football season is back, baby. Now's the time to set a game plan for your Green Bay and Wisconsin pigskin parties. This is Marie from Discount Liquor. We are your football party beverage headquarters. Whether you need an ice cold keg, a bottle of your favorite wine, a unique craft brew, or hard-to-find liquor, we have everything you need, all at the lowest prices in town. Come see us today at 51st in Oklahoma and Milwaukee, and on Barstow and Main in downtown Waukesha. Voted best liquor store again.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings.
Wherever you're tailgating, we'll get you all set up with your favorite beverages. We're open daily 9 to 9 and Sundays 10 to 2. See all of our weekly specials at DiscountLiquorInc.com.
Discount Liquor.
Hey, it's Gary Ellison here for Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center. Looking for that midday escape? Or maybe you want to impress a client? Get a little slice of summer on the links with Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center, a top-tech, cutting-edge golf experience that gives you the chance to play legendary courses. Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center's simulators, entertainment, and best Bloody Marys make it feel like summer all year round. With bays at just $35 an hour, Mondays through Thursdays. That summer feel is easily back in your life. Book your bay at WisconsinIndoorGolfCenter.com.
This is the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
There's a good chance you're on a budget. We all are, but she wants a diamond. You know it, I know it, and Robert Hack Diamonds knows it too. They offer a huge collection of lab-grown diamonds, and they sell them at crazy prices. How about 2-carat total weight diamond studs for free? Oh, I love free. When you mention ESPN and purchase $2,000 of in-stock jewelry, you'll receive a free pair of 2-carat total weight diamond studs. I think I know what the value of that is. Robert Hack Diamonds. Get any size, shape, or clarity in natural lab-grown diamonds. They got it all figured out. They got the price figured out. Spend at least $2,000 on in-stock jewelry, and you get a 2-carat diamond studs for free as long as you mentioned ESPN. RobertHackDiamonds.com for information. RobertHackDiamonds.com. Visit them in Brookfield or in Greenfield. Free! Mention ESPN. All right. Bryan Bulaga discussing the Packers, and we'll have Rob Demovsky in a little bit. I wanted to somebody made a list of all the mistakes as far as the Packers.
What is a handful?
Yeah, I mean, that can't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it can happen. In fact, I would ask you, how does it happen?
They asked me on KBN about it because obviously there were a lot of things, right? There were drop passes, there were penalties.
No, I mean the penalties on the offense before you snap the ball. It seems to me there are way more than they've been, and I'm the head coach. This can't happen. You can't go on the field naked. You got to bring your helmet, and we can't have these penalties. But I don't know if it's I don't know if it's something about the way the play's been called or what. I haven't seen it, regardless of how good or bad the team was, as often as it seems the Packers have done this year. First of all, am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a bit.
Okay,
it's
and what do you think, given you played the position forever, when this occurs? Can you tell whose fault it is?
Like when a guy jumps off sides, who's it on?
Yeah,
is that what you're asking?
Yes. Is it possible? Hold on. Is it possible that it's for a reason other than that one player messed up? Because when it happens so often, and it's a variety of different players, that makes me think it becomes more of a, I don't know, fundamental issue, or something is not being coached or stressed.
Yeah. Well, let's just I'll look at it this way. We did have a new center in, right? And there was different mechanics that were being done than what the team's normally used to. And Elton's a veteran player, and he knows the thing, but he's not the normal center. The normal center runs the mechanics. He's the guy that runs the show normally, and he wasn't there. So things get a little thrown off. But with that, there's times throughout a game where maybe the center doesn't snap the ball and a guy moves, or a guy, But if a guy's moving off sides, that means he has lost focus and he just jumps off sides and he forgets the snap count, or he's thinking about too many things at once and who he has to block or what the adjustment is, and he loses track of the count. He just moves, and those are focus things. And listen, there's nothing
in your career. How many times did you do it?
Oh, plenty. I mean, I jumped off sides plenty of times. Not probably. I mean,
did any coach ever say anything to you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, every time you come off the field, they tell you, what are you doing? I mean, it's every single time. I mean, what are you doing? Stay on side.
Did you ever have a teammate, you don't have to mention their name, where it just happened too often, and that was just, good or bad, part of that player?
No.
Right.
No, I don't ever recall that. I mean, listen, for offensive linemen, normally the way I always looked at it, if we get called off sides, it's because we're all trying to be super aggressive with the snap count and get off just as the ball moves so that we're in a good position to pass block. You never want to be laid off the ball.
Did it a little late, or
potentially?
All right.
Potentially.
But you're not going to blame him, but that could be the case.
Yeah, I'm not gonna blame Elton for that, but because Elton knows when the ball's supposed to be snapped. He plays guard, so he understands when the ball needs to be pulled. And they weren't on the road, so it wasn't silent count. So he's well aware. So I look at it more as just a lack, like guys lost focus.
So how
right?
much percentage do we have to give them as a pass for the change in the offensive line, for the number of penalties or, the fumbles off the snaps?
The fumbles off the snaps is an interesting one because wet ball, new center. I mean, that's certainly a talking point. Like, because that I can see being both guys, right? That's on both those guys.
And it hurts because it didn't happen to Detroit. I don't think it happened to them once, did it?
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
so that makes it look worse.
Yeah. So, like, I don't think. Listen, it's tough. I get Elton can play center, but when you don't do it consistently, and then you do it in a big game like that with it pouring rain and the ball's wet and you're playing a new position, like things like that, like unfortunately happen. Like that's life in the NFL when you're playing an unfamiliar position. And Jordan Love's used to getting it from, getting the football from, Myers and how he snaps the football. Each guy snaps the football a little bit different. And it's part of it, unfortunately. Now the offsides, listen, man, I'm putting that on the guys that jumped off sides. Okay. Like that's all I can blame it on. I can't blame it on Elton. I can't do that. Like unless Elton came out and said, yeah, those were on me, I didn't snap the ball, but I don't think that was the case. Because normally when that happens, all four guys move and the center's sitting there with the ball. And that didn't happen.
Yeah. All right. We had a guy on Twitter, and I give him credit because he listed, and I said, perfect stat list. Jordan Love, stupid pick 6, missed field goal, 3 botched snaps, 10 penalties, 6 drops. And I thought that really was the game, that list of 5 things. But I don't know if I would have the same order in terms of importance, and I'm not saying he did. Jordan Love, stupid pick 6, I think is number 1. But then I don't. 10 penalties or 6 drops. I thought they were drops, and great. It's raining out, but many of the passes were just a little bit behind. So,
yeah,
I don't know which was a bigger problem to win. I mean, I'm sure you'd say Jordan Love, the pick 6 is number 1 on the list.
I mean, I think that's what sealed the game. I mean, unfortunately,
would the game have been closer if they hadn't had the drops or they hadn't had the penalties? The missed field goal is crazy. That's number 5 of the 5, I think. So the biceps. What's number 2 that helped make it almost impossible given the weather to come back? Penalties or drops?
Well, I mean, with the weather, the drops are going to happen, right? Like that's.
But again, Detroit didn't have any of them. That's what.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't have any of it. So, like, I guess that's what I'm saying. Like Detroit did it too. They played in it. It's not like they were immune to it. So,
and I want to say this: I think the Packers are the dome team, and the Lions are the team that likes to play outside. I believe the Packers. I'm not saying this because of last year. Have a better chance against the Lions indoors than at Lambeau.
Well, the Lions their game travels. We'll just put it that way.
Yes.
The way they play, it travels well, man. And like that's how they're built. They're built from up front and back. Like that's how they're.
And they had not played a game outside all year.
That's incredible. Yeah. I heard that stat. That's absolutely incredible. The first game they play, it's dumping rain out.
And they played
perfect.
Yes, the way they did.
They played perfect.
I get to rest. Rob Demovsky and Bryan Bulaga, not necessarily in that order. Next.
The Homer Hour is back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
Right now, things are looking okay around the area. A little bit slow on southbound 43, making your way down past Fond du Lac Avenue, all the way down into the 4394 towards the KK River. Westbound 94, a bit heavy from the Marquette all the way to about Hawley Road. Eastbound slow from 84th Street all the way to about 27th. Just a heads up, Governor Walz is going to be appearing at State Fair Park. So that is going to happen right around 6 o'clock. So traffic might start getting a little bit confusing, a little bit tight with the rolling closures and things like that. So just keep that in mind. Traffic is brought to you by James Imaging Systems, your local document imaging partner. Visit jamesimaging.com. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight, scattered rain, isolated thunderstorms, mild, breezy, a low of 61. Tomorrow, scattered rain again, isolated thunderstorms, breezy, mild, with a high of 68. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
There's a good chance you're on a budget. We all are. But she wants a diamond. You know it. I know it. And Robert Hack Diamonds knows it too, because they offer a huge collection of lab-grown diamonds, and they sell them at crazy prices. How about 2-carat total weight diamond studs for $8.95? Robert Hack Diamonds can get any size, shape, or clarity in natural or lab-grown diamonds. Don't buy until you call Robert Hack Diamonds. $8.95 for a 2-carat pair of diamond studs. Oh, baby! Robert Hack Diamonds in Greenfield and in Brookfield. Why overspend when you can save at Robert Hack Diamonds for the same diamond you're looking for? Some jewelers are charging nearly $5,000 for a lab-grown diamond. Not Robert Hack. Your visit will be worth it, and she'll think so too. Robert Hack also offers repair services in cash for your old gold. But remember, before you do anything, as I did, RobertHackDiamonds.com, and visit them in Brookfield or in Greenfield.
Have you been patiently waiting and waiting some more for the right time to buy your first home? Hi, it's John Reeves from Great Midwest Bank, here to remind you that our experienced loan officers can answer questions and provide insight every step of the way. And we're happy to make purchasing a home a little easier by offering a closing cost credit for qualified first-time buyers. Be sure to ask about down payment assistance, too. Find a loan officer near you at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
They say seeing is believing, and when you see what's inside at American Place Casino, you better believe you're gonna love it. Because when it comes to amazing gaming, we're a real game changer. With the most exciting of table games like blackjack, craps, and roulette, the newest slots, a sports book, restaurants, bars, and more. So if you're ready for excitement, we'll see you soon. American Place Casino. Change the game.
Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537.
Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team at Holtebeck Eye Center make vision care a top priority with the latest technologies at their state-of-the-art Brookfield office. Dr. Holtebeck has been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years. And now, Holtebeck Eye Center is excited to add Dr. Nausheen Abbas to their team. Dr. Abbas is an ophthalmologist and cornea specialist that is now available to see patients. Located in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol, learn more about their services at holtebeck.com.
This political season, you'll hear a lot of noise. But this November, Walker Media Agency has the expertise and team to improve your marketing, advertising, and IT. Start at WMA2024.com. Paid for by Matt Walker and Walker Media Agency.
Seriously injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today.
I feel so stuck.
The Veterans Crisis Line is here for you. Dial 988, then press 1 to call.
You're listening to the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
Yes, I tell everybody about Fisco Auto Body on Forest Home in Franklin. Fisco Auto Body, so you'll like me. It's not the top of the list, but it's near there. So Fisco Auto Body on Forest Home in Franklin, family business, owned since 1931. It's not what they do, it's who they are. They're so good, everybody who listens to me goes there. They love Fisco, and then eventually they think, Homer, way to go, Homer. They think better of me. Yep, that's how it works. Fisco Auto Body on Forest Home in Franklin. Fisco, Fisco, Fisco. So you remember the name. The best 60 minutes of your day, the Bryan Bulaga Homer Hour. And now I get to sit back and listen just like the rest of you because Bryan Bulaga and Rob Demovsky now take over.
Rob, good evening. How we doing?
Good, Brian. How are you?
I'm great. Couldn't be better. Couldn't be better. So,
wait a minute. How can you be that good? Packers got whooped. What are you? How can you be that good?
I didn't play.
You don't feel.
I didn't go out there and get whooped.
I know, but you don't feel at all saddened by the team that you played for got their butt kicked.
Hey,
Yeah,
Brian,
I mean, listen.
You're officially a member of the media. You're starting to think like us now.
I mean, there's nothing I can do to help them.
All right, go ahead.
What do you want me to
Sorry
do?
to interrupt. I don't want you to do anything but kind of feel a little down because of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm upset. I'm upset they lost, but it's not going to ruin my day.
Right,
I'll just put it that way.
Sorry, Rob, to take your time. I won't do it again.
No, that's all right. You know what? I'm glad you interjected, Homer, because I say that to my friends all the time. I may have told you the story before. There was one time we were out. The Badgers were playing in the Big Ten championship game against Penn State a number of years ago, and we were out watching the game, and I really couldn't have cared less. But we were having a great time, yucking it up. Next thing you know, the Badgers lose. The game's over. I turn around and everybody's gone, and I'm like, what just happened? Like, we were having a good time, and now all of a sudden we're not allowed to have a good time anymore because they lost. So anyway, let's get into the game though. Let's probably want to talk. Knowing you guys. Probably want to talk penalties, dropped passes, whether Jordan Love should have played or not. So let's get to it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do want to ask you that. I mean, you were there, you watched. I mean, it was a sloppy field, sloppy conditions. Yeah. What did you think from him? And obviously talking to him afterwards, do you think he was, in a condition to play, or do you think they should have gone with Willis? What do you think?
Well, that's a great question. I thought watching it live that he looked and moved okay, Brian. But then when I went back and rewatched it this morning, I noticed that I didn't think he was moving anywhere near.
He looked
as well
like Lynn Dickey.
Yeah, no, I agree. He did not move. It looked better. He fooled me live. Rewatching it, I thought, boy, this guy is not moving well. There was one time where they hit a play down the field. I think it was to Jaden Reed, and he had to. He kind of couldn't even hustle down there to get up to the line. Now, should they have sat him? Should they have pulled him out of the game? Boy, that's a hard thing to do. I will say this. Here's one thing I think is a benefit, even though they lost, is a benefit to him playing and playing hurt, is that as his career goes on, this is going to happen again. He's going to get banged up, and he's going to be better for it the next time. I mean, like Aaron Rodgers had a couple years where he had the calf injury, right? He was better. He was better the second time he had the calf injury because he had done it before. You need to develop these reps like this. And I know in the short term it hurt and it sucks for the end result. But in the long run, if this guy is your 10-year starter, which we all think he is, I think it wasn't the worst thing in the world that he fought through it.
What did he say about that play at the end of the first half? What did he say to you guys about it? What was he thinking? What was his thought? Where was he trying to go with it?
He kept saying the ball didn't go where I wanted it to go. And they wouldn't provide a lot of detail other than he kept that the ball just didn't go where I wanted it to go. So does that mean he threw it poorly, it came out of his hand poorly, or he didn't even want to throw it to Josh Jacobs at all? If you look at it, if you go back and look at the film, I'm pretty sure that Jaden Reed was open. It was supposed to be a down-the-field throw, but Matt LaFleur told us today that the inside protection broke down, and that screwed up the whole timing of the play, which is why he was flushed out to begin with. You can blame it on Jordan Love, which I think you absolutely have to. He's got to share a big part of the responsibility. You can also blame it on Matt LaFleur for maybe trying to be too aggressive given the conditions. 58 seconds left, only down 10-3. It's a tough ass back up. Maybe they should have just gone into halftime, even though they weren't going to get the ball to start the half. The worst thing that could have happened is you get conservative there, you run the clock out, and you're down.
And they
10-3,
had 2nd and 2 at the 38 after one play. That's when the interception.
Yeah. Right, and that's when he got picked off. So, Matt LaFleur's got to look at it too and say, did I put Jordan in a bad position as well?
Yeah, listen, like I Homer and I kind of talked about that. Like, I was watching. I'm like, let's just sit on it and go into the half. Let's run it twice. Let's see if we get a first down, and if we do, then okay. And then what happened, and you go down 14 going into the half, and then you're down 21 just like that, and it's done, right? Like it's done and dusted.
And
so,
the interesting thing,
go ahead,
Brian,
Rob.
real quick, is that this is 2 games in a row that they've won the toss and taken the ball to start, which is not, I mean, it goes against conventional wisdom. And in this case, I know you never know how many possessions there's going to be, but in this case, it allowed, it allowed the Lions to double up, and that was the game right there. You know, those two possessions at the end of the first half and the start of the second half. LaFleur talked about today. He was actually asked pretty specifically why he did it and why he's taken the ball, and he said, well, it's mostly a gut feeling, but he did point out the fact that last year they did it a couple times. In fact, I think they did it, if I'm not mistaken, in the Dallas playoff game. Took the ball, went right down and scored, and it obviously set the tone for that game. So, there's no right or wrong answer. It just is what it is, and it backfired this time.
Yeah, what did Matt LaFleur have to say after the game about how he thought, both sides of the ball played up front? I mean, did he get the same sense that I did from that game, that Detroit had their way, or did he see it differently?
I don't know that we specifically asked him about the battle in the trenches. I think he was mostly irked with the pre-snap penalties on offense, not all of which were on the offensive line, by the way. Josh Jacobs had one, and Romeo Doubs had one too. So I think that was the focus of it. Just for kicks, I went back and looked at the 2019 season, was that your last season in Green Bay?
Yep.
So that was a pretty darn successful season for that football team, right?
Yes, I think so.
Game. Yeah. So David Bakhtiari had 12 penalties that year. Elton had 8. You had 5. You can win. I mean, my point is that everybody commits penalties, right? Like it happens.
Yes.
That year, Dave had 6 holds, 5 false starts, and I'm not sure what. There's one other. I don't know what the other could have been. Maybe a personal foul. I don't know. You had 3 false starts, 2 holds that year. It happens. The only problem in this game is they all seem to happen at the same time. 10 penalties, 8 of them in the first half when the game was basically decided. It's just the thing that surprised me, and I don't know why this was, but the team that didn't play an outdoor game the entire season in the Detroit Lions handled it better than the Packers did. And Dan Campbell said, I think he said it after the game, or maybe he said it on Friday leading up, knowing that it was going to be a bad weather game, that they did wet ball drills this week. And I don't know if you remember this, but the year after you were left in 2020, we asked LaFleur about wet ball drills once, and he called it gimmicky. So take that for what it's worth.
Rob, I just think that the Lions are the outdoor team. I mean, I think the Packers have a better chance to beat them in the Dome because I think the Packers are a Dome team. Can you dispute that?
No, and we saw that's exactly what happened last year when they went to Detroit on, I think it was Thanksgiving, and what did they do to start the game? They started with a bomb to Christian Watson, which is a heck of a lot easier in indoor climate-controlled conditions than it is, especially in a game like yesterday. I don't disagree with you, but I think that when you're an offensive team, I mean, we can say what you want about the teams in 2010, 2011. Those were offensive football teams. I know the defense won some games in the playoffs, but that game in Atlanta in 2010, in the Georgia Dome, last ever game at the Georgia Dome, by the way, that was an offensive showdown in perfect conditions, maybe one of Aaron Rodgers' top 5 best games of his career. I don't know that anybody builds their team anymore to play inside or outside, just because the league has changed so much. But I don't dispute or disagree with you, Homer. This team might be more effective indoors. And you know what? They've got Detroit indoors. They got Minnesota at Minnesota to try to avenge both of these losses. And then they won in both places last year, right? Did they win in Minnesota last year also? I think they did.
Yes, I think they did. They lost at home.
Yeah. It's not as dire as it looks.
No. So Rob,
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Who thinks it's dire? I don't think it's dire. Brian, do you think it's dire? I like this team more than when they started. And, I mean, it's all going to be about Jordan Love in terms of how he plays. But who's dire?
Well, I think people are panicking over the situation in the NFC North, that they're 0-2 and they're already 2 games in the loss column behind.
Well, they're not going to win the division. I heard Brian Bulaga say that, and I agree with him. So what?
Well, yeah, I guess. Then good luck in San Francisco, where they've never been able to win in the playoffs.
Yeah, all right. Yes, you're right. But don't you think this team is tougher, more? I mean, they got better players, younger players. They got the ability to do things I don't think they could do in the past. Are you guys going to agree with me?
No, listen. I mean, I understand where Rob's coming from. I mean, no, they haven't done well out in San Francisco. Believe me, I played there multiple times. I didn't do well out there either. Like, I get it. But, like, I do think that this is a different San Francisco team than it was even last year. I think we can all agree Detroit's the big dog in the NFC, and no one's coming near them. And that's the way it's going to run through Detroit, and who's going to be there with them. And if we're looking at the rest of the NFC, I mean, I know it's, only 9 games in. I still feel good about Green Bay being that team. I still do. Long way to go. I get it. But I look at it at the 6-3 point bye week that, there's a lot of growth this team needs to do, and there's a lot of decision-making that needs to be shored up. But I think they can be that team. And, I mean, what do you think, Rob? Do you think that's far off? Do you think it's not even close?
No. I'd like to see him go get a corner at the trade deadline tomorrow. That I think that would make me feel a little bit better.
Why?
About,
I mean, you've been strong on that opinion because Stokes stinks.
Stokes has struggled. Carrington Valentine has been hurt and hasn't quite been as good as last year. And look, as much as I think Jair is still one of the best,
we know he's going to be hurt.
He misses games, and I mean that's just the facts. It's not I'm not criticizing him. That's just the facts. So and if you told me, Homer, you had your choice between a pass rusher and a corner tomorrow, I think I would take the corner.
Wow. All right.
Ooh. But okay, Rob, here's my question. What position helps the other out more? Does the pass rusher help the corners out more, or does the corner help out the pass rusher?
Which came first, the chicken or the egg? It depends on your perspective. But you're right. I mean, and I don't know. I can't give you the answer. I don't know. But I just think from this anecdotally and from what the eyeball test with this team, I think that I have faith in them that the pass rush can be better. I'm not sure I have the same faith in the back end, the cornerback position specifically.
All right, we got 30 seconds left. Rob Demovsky, I want your 30 seconds on Jordan Love. Whatever you want to say. Take it away.
I think, Homer, that this is a natural second year where he feels more comfortable in the offense, therefore maybe takes more chances. And I think this is natural when a guy has a good first year, maybe tries to do a little too much the second year, needs to be reined back in. Happened with Favre in '93. So I don't think it's that unusual.
Thanks.
All right, we'll be seeing you.
Rob Demovsky, fourth quarter, with the Doctor of Football, Bryan Bulaga, next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on 94.5 ESPN. It doesn't matter if it's your first betting slip ever or just the first one of the week. We've got your Potawatomi sportsbook picks covered. Tune in Wednesdays to the Weekly Wager with Greg Matzik, Ben Brust, and Jen Latta.
If someone gives you 10,000 to 1 on anything, you take it.
The Weekly Wager, Wednesday nights at 6, right here on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube channel.
Woo! Hey, this is Ben Brust from Kyle Brust and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin. People can't stop screaming about the Screamin' Sicilian frozen pizza, and no wonder. There's plenty to scream about, like the buttery stone-fired crust, secret recipe tomato sauce, mounds of whole milk mozzarella, and tons of premium toppings. Find Screamin' Sicilian in your local grocer's freezer and find out for yourself why Sport called Screamin' Sicilian's Holy Pepperoni frozen pizza the best of the best. Screamin' Sicilian. Taste what all the screaming is about.
Are you looking for reliable transportation this holiday season? I've got you covered. It's Jen Latta from ESPN Milwaukee, and with holiday parties, family gatherings, and year-end events on the horizon, I trust AccuTrans Group to handle all of my private transportation needs. Whether it's a corporate function or festive celebration, AccuTrans gets me there safely and on time. As a veteran-owned business, they pride themselves on top-notch service that you can count on. Booking is easy, stress-free, and reliable. Just visit AccuTransGroup.com to reserve your holiday ride today. That's AccuTransGroup.com.
and ESPN Radio Extra Point with Joe Fortenbaugh.
A safe, stable environment is the first most critical aspect for raising any child. Think of it the same way for bringing up any young quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, how many coaches has he had? One. Lamar Jackson, how many coaches has he had? Josh Allen, how many coaches has he had? Brock Purdy, how many coaches has he had? Joe Burrow, how many coaches has he had? Jordan Love, how many coaches has he had? A bunch of guys that find themselves in the MVP race on good teams, winning games this year, having won games in the past, competing for Super Bowls. They all came into a situation where they had the same head coach they had from day one. And then you look around at some of these other guys. Bryce Young, 2 coaches in 2 years. Tua Tagovailoa. It took multiple coaches to try to start to work through that sort of thing. All around the NFL, you find these kids that you screw up because you consistently change the environment around them.
ABC Wednesdays.
Y'all can play all day. We want books. We want paper towels in the classroom. Bet you want razors too. I'm still waiting on the paper towels.
Abbott Elementary returns with a new season.
We asked the district for more after-school programs. They gave us $50 for class pets instead.
Critics cheer. Abbott Elementary continues to be one of the funniest and most beloved shows on TV.
What y'all doing out there? Taking bribes? Proud of y'all.
Abbott Elementary, Wednesdays, 9:30, 8:30 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Max Bankman, I'm the new doctor.
Welcome aboard the Odyssey.
ABC Thursdays.
This ship is heaven. We're tending to our passengers' dreams.
I'm in. From 911 executive producer Ryan Murphy comes a splashy new drama on a luxury cruise ship with Joshua Jackson and Don Johnson.
It's your job to keep everyone alive.
She's in VFib. 1, 2, 3. Clear.
I have a pulse.
You're going to be okay. Dr. Odyssey. Thursdays, 9/8 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Hey, sports fans, looking to level up your next private event? V Private Bar Services is your game changer. Move beyond the ordinary. V Private Bar Services crafts custom cocktails tailored to your brand and your guests' taste. Imagine a bar experience that's as unique as your business. Our expert mixologists will create a memorable experience that your clients and team will rave about. From signature cocktails to full-service bars, we've got you covered. Be the MVP of your next event. Visit vprivatebar.com/MVP to book today.
Welcome back to the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
Yep, somebody said it to me today. Homer, you going to tell us about 38 minutes again? Yep, you got it. American Place Casino, just a half hour south of Franklin. That's what I used to say instead of Homer. A little more than that. Yep. American Place Casino, 38 minutes south of Franklin. Yes, it's located in Lake County, Illinois. Yes, exciting table games. Yes, slot machines. Yes, the sports book. Yes, great food. Yes, all their events every month, AmericanPlaceCasino.com. But that's not what I emphasize. And no, I'm not stopping. Just a half hour south of Franklin, American Place Casino. Just a half hour south of Franklin. And just for those who love it, exactly 38 minutes south of Franklin, American Place Casino. I don't know how often we've done the Bryan Bulaga Homer Hour in which I seem the most positive about the Packers, but I don't.
Well, listen, I'm not negative on them. I'm not down on them, right? I'm not. I'll just. Sorry, my phone's ringing. I don't even know why I have a phone, but I have one.
We didn't actually hear it. I always think the Packers are going to be accused of being soft because I think that LaFleur is, I used to say a soft coach, but I think he's a coach who emphasizes smarts. I want to be smarter than the other side, and I think now they have enough physical players, enough defensive players that I don't think they play soft because your players determine your style more than anything, is right?
Yeah, no, I don't think they're soft. I don't think they're soft, but when you go against Detroit, you need to play a certain way. It is a certain style of game that you need to play, and they didn't do it. And now they understand what they're going against in that team now, right? Like, because the Lions aren't changing, right? Like, they're not going to be something different.
No, they seem to be getting better. They even had some players hurt defensively, but their offense, I mean, Goff is amazing. Like, completing almost every pass.
He looks great. Like, he looks really good. Like, and, their running game is phenomenal. They're very diverse in how they, give the ball to Montgomery and what's the other kid's name?
The quick guy, fast guy from Alabama. Gibbs. Was he from Alabama or LSU? Where's he from?
I think Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah, but like how they, divide the carries between those guys
St.
and how
Brown
they run
is
them.
really good as a receiver.
Yeah, St. Brown's a great. So like they're very good on offense, and then defensively, they we all know they have a lot of good players in different levels. They don't have that superstar anymore, right? Like Branch is kind of the superstar, and he got ejected, right? Now, they have good players all over because Hutchinson's out. But Anzalone playing lights out football right now. He is playing great football. And that's what they have on defense. Now, guys just stepping up and playing great. And they did enough on defense to get the job done. And they're tough up front. They play tight coverage. Yeah, Green Bay moved the ball a little bit, but nothing too threatening, so to speak. And the defense did their job. They applied pressure when they needed to, simulated pressure, obviously, kind of the pressure that they created for the pick six. Plenty. And they got the job done. So I'm not down on Green Bay. I just feel that it is a young roster, and I know how good they played down the stretch last year, but it's a learning moment to know when you're going in against a team like this, the attitude that needs to go with it, right? These are attitude games, and every time you step across the white lines against teams like this, you need to bring it. And this was a good learning moment for them.
And I think Detroit's better than they were last year, even without Hutchinson.
Yes, they're great. I mean, I think they're the best team in football right now.
Wow. I would agree, but it doesn't count. Because until somebody beats Kansas City in the playoffs, if a team went unbeaten, if a team went 17-0, I would still say it's Kansas City and the rest of the league until you beat them in the playoffs.
No, I get it. I mean, I understand. I'm just talking about how they're playing right now.
Yeah.
I think they're playing like the best team in the league. And that's just my opinion.
Your opinion counts. Anything else that's just your opinion? I don't think, here's my last thing. I don't think that LaFleur's taking enough personal responsibility for all the penalties. I know he said somebody does an unsportsmanlike, they're going to sit and be by dissecting. That's not on them. That's on you. If that was the only penalty, it'd be on them. You are not doing your job as head coach given all these penalties. Agree or disagree? That's a disagree.
It's hard for him to correct false starts. It really is. I don't know how he does it. That's on the guy.
But don't it seem like there's a lot of penalties? But maybe there are on every team. All right. Take two later this week. Marquette basketball coming up soon. Oh, no, we go to Potawatomi first, right? Yeah. Find out what Greg and Gary are thinking.
Things are kind of slow right now along southbound 43 from Hampton to Capitol and back on the brakes from Locust all the way down through the Marquette and over the high-rise bridge. Westbound 94 still heavy from just before 27th Street all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. And then you're back on the brakes from about Calhoun.